Hello and welcome to this live session. Welcome to this live stream. I'm sharing how to 5 ways to lose money in real estate. I'm Tosin Omotosho. I'm a real estate and business lawyer, and I've been that for the past 14 years. And so the tips I'm sharing in today's video are practical tips from my experience working in a number of transactions, real estate transactions with different people in Nigeria, both those in Nigeria and in diaspora. And today I'll be sharing 5 ways to lose money. Of course, I know you don't want to lose money, but you need to do what the things that you are doing that makes you lose money, so you know what to do instead. All right, 5 ways to lose money in real estate. Now, it's very important that if you're investing in any form of asset at all, you need to know that asset well. That's why people fall victim to Ponzi scheme and to scams, because they don't know so well about the asset they are investing in. They're just drawn by the promise of, oh, it brings a lot of returns, it brings a lot of money. Do you understand? That shouldn't be the only reason. You need to know inside out. So the first step, the first mistake that would make you lose money in real estate would be not asking the right questions. Now, if you are buying real estate is peculiar because it is fixed. When you buy every other type of assets or other types of assets, let me not say every other, you buy anything at all, you can carry it. All right, if you buy a car, for instance, you drive it out of the showroom, isn't it? You buy a phone, you buy office equipment, you buy household furniture, anything at all, you buy it, you carry it. But that is not the case with real estate. You can't carry it. So the fact that you want to buy this property in this particular location, you go there, you look at it, you go back to your house or to where you're staying. All right, you go back there again, it's still there, it's not going to shift. And that is one particular trait of real estate that makes it easy for people to lose money, because it's fixed. So you can't really just by looking at it discover a lot of things. All right, so you need to know the questions to ask, and these are a few questions that you have to ask. Number one is, who is the owner of this property? That goes without saying. Now, in real estate, it is not just about just asking these questions. You also have to verify whatever information you are giving. So if, for instance, some people want to sell to you and they tell you, oh, it's owned, this property, this land is owned by a family, you need to then know how you would confirm that it is actually owned by a family, number one. And then number two, you're dealing with the right representatives of the family. That is in a case where you're buying from a family. If you're buying from an individual, the questions would be a little different. So you want to ask the individual, how did you get ownership? That's the general question. What proof do you have of your individual ownership? All right, if it's from a company too, you need to ask the same question. Who is the owner? How did you get ownership? Because if someone is selling land to you or passing land to you or assigning land or any property to you, if there's any issue with their title, and their title means ownership, it's going to pass to you who is buying. All right, it's going to pass to you. So if there's a legal issue, for instance, they don't have the right legal authority to own that property, to sell that property, and they sell it to you, you've inherited all the legal issues. So which is why you really have to pay attention to how they became owners of the property. You have to ask that question. How did you who is the owner, and how did the owner become the owner of the property? Number three question I always also emphasize is that you have to find out, are there any legal encumbrances? And don't you worry about that big grammar. Encumbrances is just hindrance. All right, are there legal issues with their ownership? Of course, I doubt if you would ask anyone that question and they will say yes, there are. It's up to you to find out. Okay, it's up to you to find that. And that leads us to our next point. Which is the mistake that most people make that makes them lose money in real estate, is not doing due diligence. So due diligence starts with asking the questions, visiting the property, doing your investigations. Now, when we talk about due diligence, interestingly, it's something we all do. I find it interesting when people buy real estate and they just buy it based off trust or off what someone told them, without doing their own personal independent investigation. All right, now due diligence is simply finding out the necessary facts so that you can be sure that this transaction I'm going into, I'm not going to lose money. It's easy and simple. It starts from, even when you want to change your phone, you want to buy a phone or a device or anything, you do some due diligence, don't you? you have in mind, okay, I want to buy this particular kind of phone. What feature is most important to you? Maybe the battery, maybe you need a very sharp camera. You pay attention to all that, you understand? And then when you're shopping for the phone, you have those points in mind. You ask questions when you get there. Okay, I want to buy this one. What brand? Oh, I want to buy an iPhone. Oh, I want to buy a Samsung phone. What type? They tell you. You ask about the features. That's due diligence. It's the same thing. So it's something we do every day. And it's the same thing in real estate. I cannot overemphasize this. Doing due diligence would save you a lot of money. I have saved my clients millions of naira by doing due diligence, by finding out facts that they wouldn't otherwise have known. There was a client of ours who was going to buy property, and it was a distress sale, according to what we were told. So we asked the seller to give us the documents he had. And by the time we looked at the documents he had and asked him a few questions, we knew that if my client was going to buy, he was just going to lose his 5 million naira for nothing, because even the person selling didn't have legal ownership of that property, of that land. And that is how it happens almost every day. People lose money because they don't do this due diligence. So you need to ask these questions. You need to check whatever documents they have, that is if they have documents, and verify it. All right? It's something that you cannot do on your own. I have to state that. You would need a lawyer to also help you out with that. And in some instances, you need a surveyor. So if you're buying land, for instance, let me give another example. Someone wanted to buy a land, and this person is even in diaspora, and he had reached out to the person who was going to sell, and the person said, okay, it's an excision, that the land is under excision. So when I reached out to the seller, I said, okay, no problem, give us the details of the excision. When land has been excised back to a community or a family, it's included in a gazette. So give us those details. And this is almost 6 months after we are yet to get the details. Of course, my client was going to lose his money, because if he was buying property that the seller didn't have the right title or ownership, he would just have lost his money. So that's how people lose money. Not asking the right questions, not doing due diligence. That's number 2. Number 3 is not knowing what to do in each situation. Now, remember I talked about an excision and what applied in that particular case. Sometimes you're buying from a family who own land under customary law. You need to know what to do. And let me quickly give you a few tips to help you in that regard. Now, what happens in Nigeria is, before the Land Use Act of 1978, before it became law, we had families, mostly families, owning land in different communities in Nigeria. And then the Land Use Act comes and says, okay, we're vesting land in the governor. And so every transaction, almost every transaction, particularly sale, mortgages, leases that are above 3 years, you have to get the consent of the governor before those transactions can be completed. So that's what the law says. But of course, the law does not now say that those who held land under native law and custom before that period, that they don't own the land again, they are naturally dispossessed of their land. Of course not. That would be against their rights, their constitutional rights to own property. So what happens is, you have families owning land. So the families own their land. It's family land. Now, when you're buying family land, there are steps to take. You're not going to approach the way you buy family land the same way you would approach when you're buying land from an individual. And it will also be different from when you're buying land from a company. So the situations are different. So it's important that you, as a buyer, you need to know what to do in each situation. You need knowledge, all right? Remember I said you shouldn't invest in something you don't have enough knowledge about. You don't know how to go about it. You just want to go into it, just dabble into it, just heard, oh, real estate doesn't depreciate in Nigeria, can make lots of money, and then you go into it. No, don't do that. You need to know what to do in this situation. And if you want to know what to do in these situations, then you should enroll in my due diligence in real estate masterclass, where I broke down everything that you need to know. It's an instant class, less than an hour, where you would learn what to do when you're buying from a family, from a community, from individuals, from companies. You would also learn what to do when you're buying land, when you're buying bare land, you're buying property that's been built, when you're doing an off-plan arrangement, or you're buying and paying in installments. Those are all other flexible ways people own real estate. I've touched on all that. What document should you ask for? It's a very detailed masterclass which would help you so well. So you need to know what to do in each situation, all right? So if you're buying land from a family, you need to know, oh, I'm buying land from this family. Who is the legal representative of this family? Who are the legal representatives? Because if you buy land and you're buying from the wrong representatives of the family, you would lose money. I'll give you an example. There was a person who had come into the country to start to build an estate in a very popular area in Lagos, and he had bought this land and they were about to start building, and then some Omoniles came to disrupt them. So after a series of meetings with the Omoniles, he discovered that he had transacted with the wrong representative. So he had paid to a member of the family, but that wasn't the right person he should have paid to. And the Omoniles had a good case against him. That was just the truth. And so he had to now ratify. So meaning he had paid before, let's say he paid 150 million, he had to pay another couple of hundreds of millions to this family, the right representatives of the family. You know, it was a very sad scenario. But it even ended well because they agreed that he should ratify. Some don't end well that way, that the person will totally lose everything, which is unpalatable. I don't want you to lose money in real estate. So you need to know what to do in each situation, depending on what you're buying and where you're buying, who you're buying property from. Now, the fourth is not doing proper documentation. This is very key. Remember, I said that before the Land Use Act, yes, there were different ways people owned land under customary law, but now we have a uniform way of owning land. And of course, you should make sure, this is the 21st century, you have to have your document. I still have people reach out to me and tell me, I bought this land from this family and I have just a receipt. As newsflash, a receipt is not proof of ownership of land. A receipt or a contract of sale is not proof that you own land. It is proof that money has passed. Yes, you've paid for land. But as the ownership of the land passed to you, no, it has to be via a deed, usually a deed of assignment, all right? So you have to ensure you do the proper thing. You have to ensure you do the proper thing and that you have your documents in your name, okay? Very important. That way, you will know that even if there's any issue, you have something backing you, and if you're going to go to court, this will help you to build your case. You don't just want to go and just say orally that I'm the owner of this land. And when did you buy it? It's not like you bought it in the olden days when there was no documentation at all or anything, all right? That will be shooting yourself in the foot. So it's important you do your documentation. Now, taking possession. The fourth mistake that you would make that will make you lose money is you buy land and you don't take possession. What does possession mean? It means you being in physical control of the property, and this especially applies in cases of land. Usually when you buy a house, you collect the keys, right? So you move into it, or you're putting a tenant in, and you're good to go. So possession is relatively easy for you to do in such cases. But when it comes to land, you should take possession. And let me give you some quick tips to help you. I know some people, especially for those of us in diaspora, will buy property, will buy land, and then we leave it there. Even for some of us in Nigeria too, we'll buy land with the intent that, okay, it's going to increase, the value is going to increase, so I'll leave it for a while and then I can sell. Please don't just leave it bare like that, all right? You want to make sure that at least you establish presence on that land. So maybe you want to do corner pieces. If you can afford it, do a fence, all right? Now, don't just leave the land and come back 10 years' time. Somebody could have trespassed on it, even built on it, because of the long span you've left the land for. So you need to often visit the land. And I also usually had this tip. If you are buying land and it's already in an area that is inhabited, oh, fantastic. Please make friends with your neighbors. When you go there, buy something for them, buy something for their children, talk to them, tell them, oh, my name is Mr. This, my name is Mrs. This, my name is Miss This, I own this property, this is my phone number. In case you see anyone who doesn't look like me around this land, please just alert me, I would appreciate it. Just that act. I remember there was someone who was building around, who owned land around our area where my parents live. And when she came to take possession of the land, she didn't start building immediately. So she reached out to us. She came to introduce herself to my dad and my mom and said, oh, we own this land. I'm the owner of this land, so this is my phone number, blah, blah, blah. And one day we saw some strange, it was actually the Omoniles who sold to us in that area. We saw them loitering around. So, and bringing someone else, they were looking at land. We quickly called the woman. Did you send people to this land? She said, no. Then you have to be careful. So we're seeing some movement around that area. So she had to quickly come I think it's to develop it, or did she eventually even sell it herself? I can't recollect now. But anyway, you get the point. So you need to make sure that, so that at every point in time, you have someone who's looking out for you, all right? If you can build a small gatehouse on it, fine. If it's land that can be farmed, you can get someone who will farm on the land, all right? Please, if you're leasing out the property, make sure you do a receipt. Okay, you don't want someone who would have stayed there for so long that they begin to claim that they actually own that land. We've had instances like that. So you want to give them a receipt to show that, okay, I'm the owner of this land, I'm just allowing you use it for the time being. It could be for a very small amount of money. It's not necessarily for the money, it's just for you to establish possession, all right? So it's very important, it's very crucial. Those are the 5 things that would 5 ways to lose money in real estate, and of course I've shared what you should do instead so that you don't lose money in real estate. Now let me give you a bonus tip, which is the 6th, and that is you should perfect your title. All right, so after you've taken possession is very key. You have your proper documentation showing that you are the real owner. You've done your due diligence. Please, that due diligence is important, because remember I said if the owner who is selling to you has issues with their title, they would automatically pass to you. If you like, do all the documents in the world, the documents will not cure it. So you have to get those bases right, from the 1st to the 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th and to the 5th step. And the 6th is to perfect your title. You need to perfect your title. So you are either getting a C of O, or you have governor's consent to your transaction. All right, that will perfect your title, because on that same property, if someone goes ahead and perfects their title, registers their title before you, the first in time will count if you have a case in court. So you want to make sure that everything is watertight and you don't leave any loopholes. All your bases are covered. So if this video has been helpful to you, feel free to share. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. And of course, get my course, my masterclass, which is an instant class, so you can consume in less than an hour. You would get to know all the details you need, whether you're buying land or a house, or built property, you're doing a mortgage, you're paying by installments, you're doing an off-plan. I've had over 64 and counting people enroll in that class, including lawyers, developers, real estate company, realtors, and lots more. So do well to enroll in that class. It's an instant class, and you can get access for 10,000 naira or $30. You can pay in naira, you can pay in dollars, you can pay in pounds. All right, so till when next I come your way on a live session, live stream like this, make sure you subscribe for more videos. Check my channel, you'll see a lot more helpful videos. I've talked about the details about the deed of assignment, execution, and gazette, what you should do before you buy real estate, tips to help you buy a house. I have a 2-part series on that. All right, thank you for joining, and do have a pleasant day.